Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is another paid request. This time for Jonathan Lindsey. Around the Easter season, he wanted me to do a commentary for Critters 2, the main course. Since it's one of the few horror films to deal with Easter in a way. For those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, topics, reactions, commentaries, re-reviews, whatever it may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. So, 3, 2, 1, pressing play. Now, we're off the bat, we got the New Line Cinema logo. Fades out now. And we're fading into New Line Cinema Show Films production. And Critters 2. Scott Grimes, who's the kid in the first movie, he returns here. This is more of a teen character. Barry Corbin, he was in War Games, among other stuff. He comes in here as the sheriff, who Emmett Walsh played in the first movie. Lynn Shay, who's in the first movie, she comes back. She's the sister of New Line Cinema head Bob Shay. Don Opper as Charlie. Terrence Mann as, in this case, one of the bounty hunters. They'd come back as well. Critters 2 I always enjoyed. And, you know, if someone were to ask me which I like more, I'd probably say this is my favorite Critters film, although I do like the first one. I think because this one, now that we've established who the Critters are, they had a bigger budget, they were able to do more stuff, and when the town goes under, goes into shitter, it definitely felt like a bigger event. David Twohy, that is David Twohy, who wrote the original script for this, and then was rewritten. David Twohy would go on to direct Pitch Black and The Arrival with Charlie Sheen, among others. Apparently he was that happy with the film. I mean, this came out in 1988, which was a pretty cool year for horror, at least to me, because the Blob remake, which I love, came out that year. Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, The Dream Master, this movie. I thought it was Hellbound, Hellraiser 2. A lot of horror sequels that I enjoy. As well as, again, the Blob remake. Bad Dreams, I didn't mind that for it. Actually, I can't remember if that was 88 or 89. But here we're seeing the bounty hunter job where Charlie's a part of. I wonder how Charlie ever... I mean, I know he went up after them asking him a few things, but the fact they were willing to let him come so easily. Yeah, directed by Mick Garris, who would later direct Stephen King's The Stand, Sleepwalkers, a few others. I probably would say this is his best film, definitely. Also interesting, we see some of the different creatures here. Different things they've hunted. So it must seem they've been doing this for years. For what I understand, in this suit is actually Mick Garris' wife, who I believe was claustrophobic. And so... But yeah, I believe it's Mick Garris' wife and this creature. Which, I mean, the design does look like it's, I don't know, from a 50s movie. And yeah, I think that from the first film to this one, I mean, technically it's been 2 years. But I'm trying to wonder, like, how long has it been, like, movie time wise? Well, obviously, again, the first one was in '86. This was '88. But I'm just wondering, like, where. I wonder if they say how many years it's actually been. Because in 2 years, he definitely grew a lot. So there we have Scott Grimes on the left, who is going to his grandmother's house for Easter. I can't think of many horror films or many creature features that take place around the Easter holiday. Now, Scott Grimes here, like I said, he was the kid in the first movie, and he would later go on to be worked with Seth MacFarlane quite a bit. He'd be in the Orville TV show, which I don't know what happened to that show. I think it had 2 seasons, then like disappeared. I don't know if it got canceled, if it got delayed, what the deal was. Then he was also a voice, I want to say, on American Dad, or one of those other Seth MacFarlane cartoons. But around this time, I think after this, he was in a film called Nightlife, aka Grave Misdemeanors, that to this day is only on VHS. I think that movie's forgotten by a lot of people, and it's like, there's no one talks about it, no one remembers it, so it's like it'll never get a release, which is sad. I mean, Vinegar Syndrome recently put out Flesh Eater on 4K, but Nightlife and Murder by Phone and these other movies can't even get a DVD release. These ages, I mean, we saw a little bit at the end of the first Critters, but they take a long time to hatch. Grover's Bend Easter egg on Sunday, 9:30 a.m. I was going to say, does anyone... Well, there are still people that celebrate Easter. Definitely not as much as before. I remember I worked retail, and you'd set up the Easter stuff, but it didn't last long. Soon after, they would already, like, get ready for 4th of July stuff. It's weird. It's like the day after Thanksgiving, let's get ready for Christmas. I always liked this girl. I thought she did a good job in the movie. I don't know the name of the little girl, but at least they didn't make her annoying or irritating or anything of the sort. I think this guy on the left, I think he was in I Come in Peace. I think he was the guy who Dolph Lundgren threatened in the boardroom. He was one of the white boys. Where he's warning Dolph, you guys started a drug war. What do you mean drug war? And this guy on the left, like, worked for Victor Maitland. We're not going to get any bonuses this year. And there's Lynn Shay. Of course, she was in, like I said, she's the sister of Bob Shay, who ran New Line Cinema. And of course, Lynn Shay later on would be in the Insidious movies. She was also in that new Grudge film that no one saw for good reason. I love how he says that boy's story. I guarantee it was the whole family had that story, not just the boy. For I understand, there's no talk of bringing the other family members into it. And yeah, when this film came out, it was a big flop, and to be honest, I don't know why. I guess really at the time there was really no interest in a Critters film, I guess. But then it seemed like on VHS, a lot more people saw it. Because I don't think it's a bad movie at all. I think, you know, the actors do their jobs well. It goes at a good pace. It's only an hour and 25 minutes. Very short, to the point. She always seemed like a sweet lady. Is that kid eating paint? I just realized that kid's eating paint and she's not noticing. You're worried about, you know, kids eating meat, but this kid's eating paint. White paste. Like, hey, do your job better. Don't worry about them eating meat. Worry more about them eating fucking glue. Wasn't paint. Glue. I don't know why I said paint. I didn't. Maybe he's the type of kid that eat paint chips when he was a kid. But glue is what I meant. I don't know why he's eating glue. I just, when I saw white paste, for some reason I thought of paint. It's glue. Yeah, the kid. Ladies, kids eating glue. Don't eat glue. Funny, the guy references Cujo, and then Mick Garris would direct quite a few Stephen King adaptations. Because he did, like I said, The Stand, he did Sleepwalkers. I know he did, I think he did one more, or one or two more. Can't remember what they were. Barry Corbin as Harv the sheriff again. And Emmett Walsh played him in the first movie. On the board chart, I put the right between a pineapple quiche and a pimple on the ass. I like the Emmett Walsh, but I always like Barry Corbin more. I liked his attitude more. He has one of my favorite line deliveries. This dog to kiss my ass. So I think it has been 2 years. About to start the bonus round. I love that. Because he said he hasn't been sheriff for 2 years, so it probably would have been right after that Critters moment, so okay. So I guess just sometimes they do that where a movie, it's released 2 years later, but they say it's like 5 or 10 years later. Friday the 13th films did that from time to time. I mean, Friday the 13th 1 to Friday the 13th Part 2 was a lot of years in between. Of course, that Playboy is a setup for later where one of them fly off and one of the bounty hunters finds it. Yeah, that's a tough thing about doing a sequel, is that you have to do somewhat the same thing so that the audience doesn't feel cheated, but you have to do something a bit different as well so that you're not... there you go, there's the Playboy. And this is set up for the other bounty hunter. Because, like, I just explained, like, why Terrence Mann is still played by Terrence Mann and not anybody else. Lee stays in nothing phase till he finds the right self. Which one... in the TV cut, when they get to the scene where they find the Playboy and the changes to the woman, there's a cut line where the bounty hunter said body fit, and that's a reference to this. But even that, I just see why they cut that out, because it doesn't make a lot of sense, because it still, even after that, is still trying to find bodies, like, looks like Eddie Deason, even tries to look like Freddy Krueger at one point, and Don Opper stops. So it's interesting for Don Opper's character. Like in the first film, he was just drunk that no one respected and did a little bit of good at the end. And now, like, this bounty hunter gives him a sense of purpose that he carries through to even after this film. There's Eddie Deason at the counter. Eddie Deason had that look and that voice. He was in 1941, the Steven Spielberg film. He was in, I think, a film called Beverly Hills Vamp. I don't know whatever happened to Eddie Deason. Look how generic this beer is, too. Literally, the can is a white can. It just says beer. That'd be like if this can said soda. I don't know why this reminds me a little bit of Back to the Future. With Biff Tannen, and with Biff and Michael J. Fox's character. Sorry, I'm a little bit out of it. I don't know why I call him Biff Tannen. Yeah, I apologize. I'm not feeling the best. But I wanted to get this done because I feel bad for Jonathan Lindsey having to wait. It's the least I can do. Kind of like a Jimmy Olsen with breasts. Of course, you probably couldn't say that now, you'd be canceled. But yeah, I mean, now that you've set up who the critters are, like what they are, pretty much you set up the build-up of all this jazz, and in a few minutes we're going to get the critters buzzing in here. Won't be a little bit more development. Purpose, we gotta set up this whole Easter opportunity, this Easter plot, and the eggs have to get to where they need to go. Of course she didn't hurt it, it's dead. And of course we have to establish that she only takes half, because we're going to have some there to attack him and then some there to be spread over town. But yeah, a lot of these creature feature films I grew up with on VHS, and a lot of us, that's how we found it, and in a way that helped a lot of these lesser known films, because even though there are a lot of films coming out each year, it's still minute compared to today. Because you look at the video store and there'd be a certain amount of films there, especially if it's more so the ones that came out that year, and you would go to the video store maybe every week or every 2 weeks and you'd find it, and you'd be able to see the cover, look at the back of the cover, and maybe take a chance on it. In a lot of these movies back in the day, that's how it would get kind of released to the mass audience. A lot of times is, let's take a chance. Oh, we don't want to just rent one. We're going to rent maybe 3 or 4 for a weekend, and watch 2 a day, or make a night of it. So rent like 3 or 4, and there you go. Yeah, take a chance on that. If it's good, cool. If it's bad, people are more willing to take a chance because there's no really opportunities to see it. And the internet and all this stuff did, to be fair, hurt that a bit, because it's like, well, if you get burned too many times, you'll just find it online somewhere. Sometimes, right on YouTube, let alone other places. There's no choice of that back then, though. And nowadays, there's so many streaming platforms. There's Amazon, there's Netflix, there's Disney Plus, there's Paramount Network. All of these boundless amounts of streaming services. And as one person called it, it's now quantity over quality. And it is. A lot of streaming services, they just want content. They don't care if it's good or bad. They just want content. And that's why I think you get a lot less quality in movies. If it's 80, 90 minutes, and if it has maybe a catchy title or a laughable title, a lot of times people make movies just for people to easily laugh at or whatever, and then we'll take it because people watch it on a gag. And this is the first time you see baby critters, which is an interesting visual. Very well done by the Kyoto brothers. They came back. They did the effects on the first one. This is around the time they directed their movie Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I thought it was gross. It bought a piece. It bit a piece of the foot off. And this got PG-13. And for what I understand, it had no issues with the MPAA. There's a couple decent gory bits, like that foot being bit off, and when you see his reveal the body layer, half his face is gone, and you even see boobs, you see titties, and it got PG-13, just like that. But I guess when it's more comedic or more like fantasy, like aliens fantasy, they seem a bit more lenient, I guess. Maybe it's the look of the critters as well, like the look of the critters. They're very cool, but at the same time, yeah, I wouldn't call them a scary look. It just, to me, it's a neat look. Maybe to some, even a little bit of a cute look. Why would you put your chocolate on the ground? That's disgusting. Number one, it's gonna melt. That's number one. It's gonna melt throughout the night. Number two, if you don't eat that part of the chocolate, isn't now on the ground where you probably have a bunch of other shit on there? If you have chocolate, wouldn't you? I don't know. Put it in the fridge so it didn't melt. I mean, it's not even in a wrapper. It's not even in anything. I don't understand. Plus, who took that picture with him and Charlie with the slingshot? Like, who took that picture? Like, if you think about it, there's no one around to take that picture. And that is a picture from the first movie, because it's the same clothing. It's the bit at the beginning where Charlie had the slingshot and accidentally hit the sister, Scott Grimes' character's sister. But, like, who took that picture? Like, there's no one around with a camera in the first movie. And didn't the kids say it was too hot? That's why there's no covers. Would you think, again, the chocolate, maybe, I don't know. I think the chocolate did melt. I think it's on the right there. It looked like it melted. Because it looks a bit droopier than usual. You have a bit of this point of view. Trying to be suspenseful on whether this kid was going to get attacked or not. Because we've seen them attack the adult before. I would say the kid's not going to get it, but at the same time, this is the same year as the Blob remake, 1988, and kid got in that and then some. There's like, maybe. And some nice point of views, and there you go. Okay, if I thought my daughter was going to eat candy that was green like that, I'd be like, good. I'm not going I'm not going to let the lady eat it. Because it's set up the scene later in the church where you don't get that that Easter bunny bit where the town really comes into knowledge of what's going on here. Yeah, so this is the new sheriff who, I don't know why, for some reason back in the day for a good couple minutes I thought it was John Larroquette. I don't know why. It's clearly not, but for some, I guess as a kid, I remember some episodes of Night Court, and I'm like, is that John Larroquette as the sheriff? It's like, no, not at all. But I did think it was an interesting idea to have this take place Easter, which number one makes it a bit more of a threat because of all this children endangerment involved, and number two, it makes sense with the age themselves. Actually, I think they don't realize it's critters yet. They realize there's a dead body. They wonder who or what did it, and then later on, it's been a while since I've seen this. It's been a long while. It's definitely one of those things where after this, this film bombed badly. Yeah, I guess there was no desire for Critters, or at least someone to see a Critters sequel in the theaters. And then the franchise was dormant for a little bit until the 90s, where I guess even Critters 2 did well on VHS, and they said, well, obviously theatrical is not really the best way to go, so... And then you saw more movies going direct to video. So, hey, we're going to do these two movies, we're going to do it back to back. Critters 3, Critters 4. So you have the Critters 3 in the... I would say in the city, but it's more in like this high-rise... not even high-rise, this apartment building. And then Critters 4... They go back to space like they did at the beginning of the first movie, and a lot of it's kind of in these ships. But because of the low budget, just the critters, you just did not really have as much invention or creativity. Like here, like you said, you have the critter, little babies, you got the... Well, the shit really hits the fan, all the different types of critters that either inflate, get run over by the tire, or the big critter ball, or at times 4 critters get together to form a bigger ball. At the end, it was all of them. Well, I guess you could say this is where the critter kills a furry. That's why you should have gotten the zipper fixed. I mean, I think it's just like you're not able to see, but you can gather like the idea of your body, your balls, all the idea bitten by these creatures. And the Easter Bunny suit, just a very unique, just a different type of image. And it's just a bit fucked up, like, you kill someone who's in a bunny suit, have them crash into a church, all this blood throughout. And that's the sheriff, so it's like, well, who the hell's gonna... Who's the officers now? I mean, do they have more than one cop? Oh, they have the sheriff, and that's it. Didn't look like they had any deputies or anything in the source, so I'm like, I don't know if that's really how you should run a town, to just have one sheriff and nobody else is a police officer, because, there, who else is it? Farm accident, that doesn't make any damn sense. What kind of farming accident would that be? A tractor came up, snuck behind him, and acted like a ninja to kill him. That's some tractor. Fucking lawnmower. Tiptoed around and said, tic-tac-toe in your face. There we have Barry Corbin again. I think this is where you get to my favorite line delivery in the movie. Like I said, Emma Walsh did fine in the first one, but I thought Barry Corbin was even better. Yeah, I liked his demeanor, I liked his attitude. Plus, they gave him a bit more to do. And when he comes back in like a boss. I'm doing what any intelligent, God-fearing ghostbenders would do. I'm hauling ass. This town voted me out in a landslide. This town can kiss my ass. I think there's also the slap too. This town can kiss my ass. That always cracked me up ever since I was a kid. I don't know. Unless it's the way he said it and this emphasis with the slap. I always thought the music in this was well done too. I always liked the musical score. Yeah, I like the score in the first one, but I like the score in this one too. This is why we set up that Playboy, so that when the guy passes, it flies off, and then Charlie finds it here. Again, there's a deleted scene on the TV version where after this transformation, the now female bounty hunter says, "Good fit." Again, I'm guessing they took that out because it would continue to, again, look like Eddie Deason or try to look like Freddy Krueger or others. But again, both that porn magazine, to have Playboy in it, and you see tits, just a bit. Now, if I understand, this lady, she had Playboy. She wasn't in Playboy, but she had pictures that were going to be for Playboy, but they just didn't. It didn't come to fruition. So they used those pictures, and then they got Playboy's permission to use the cover, and like put her on it. And then I guess Sally, this woman passed away years later in a car accident, which is too bad. Oh, what the hell happened? Yeah, sorry about that. Just wait 1 second. Okay, for some reason this Blu-ray froze up a bit. That's great. It's only a Blu-ray. So I apologize for all those out there. I'm now at 39 minutes and 29 seconds if people want to jump ahead a bit or just wait a little bit. Yeah, I'm paused at 39 minutes 29 seconds, and if you're following along, I'll wait a little bit. I need a bit of drink. I don't know why I haven't been feeling well lately. I don't know. This weather. Tell you one thing, this weather's schizophrenic. It goes from super cold to super hot to super cold to super hot, and I don't know why. But yeah, I'm still there. Pause. 3, 2, 1. Pressing play. play. 39-31, 39-32, 39-33. This is where Scott Grimes is going to find this dead body in a bit. I think it's one of those things I just need to get the disc to wipe. Because sometimes Blu-ray discs, they even some fingerprints, it'll affect it. See that? That's pretty decently gory. I mean, the skull on the top is showing. Half his face is pretty much gone. It's pretty decently graphic. And again, the Kyoto Bros did a great job on the look of these porcupines from hell. I think they looked even better in this because they had a bit more money to have a bit more finesse on the puppetry, the body, and gags like this to, you know, squish. And you have a lot more critters in this one, a lot more, so they seem even more of a big threat and danger. And see, now they're everywhere. I tell you one thing, if you want more critter action, this is the movie to get it. This has the most critter action. Again, you tell the effects are a bit more polished in this one compared to the first. No shit, Briley. Chris's communicator is pointless because, like, he presses it, and I doubt, I mean, unless they know how to teleport, they got there right at it. To see, I don't know how that communicator works because it's either very, very convenient that it happened to be at that spot for that point to happen, or what that communicator would have done. As we're like, Don Opper passes right by him. There you go. But yeah, some nice, I like this bit of a sweet music here. And that's what, you know, Charlie says, you know, up there I am somebody. You know, I am somebody, I got meaning there. I think by the end he's given the star, like he's going to be the sheriff of the town, and we never really see that come to fruition because in the third film he's just some guy running around with a gun, you know, hunting for critters. Yeah, okay, if there's any noise, you just don't go near it. You get the hell out of there, or you call someone, or you grab a weapon. That's just how you need to do it, just how it goes. Yeah, just don't do it, man. Just don't do it. This definitely coming up as one of the big ADs, and just want someone to punch him out. I would don't say this is definitely what you get one of the big critter scenes in the movie, where they're just everywhere. Like I say, I guess people that complain about this film, it makes me wonder, like, what is it that they really wanted, if that's the case. The effects look good. It goes by a fast pace. I mean, we're already over halfway through the film. You know, the acting, I think Scott Grimes and the love interest and the grandma, they all do a good job. The Chiodo brothers did an excellent job. It doesn't feel like the same movie, since it does go into this whole aspect of them taking over this whole town. You definitely see the bounty hunter do a lot more business here. Just keeping the shit out of everybody. Look at all this. You know, frying's one of them. Like, that's a neat effect. Deep fried, deep fried critter ball. That's where you get an aspect. Yeah, and that's an interesting aspect to bring, to come together. There you go. Bit of a bowling bit. The idea that they could get together and form a bigger ball, I think that was a nice addition. It was a nice addition. So I mean, they added something to it that wasn't there before, and I'm guessing they did not like the big tall critter, because that never came back into the franchise, which is ironic because that was the cover of the first movie. Like, the cover of the first movie, the poster, and you get the Blu-ray. It's that giant critter staring into you, and that was used a little bit at the end. And then at the end, I guess no one missed it, no one liked it, so then they never used it again, because it's not in here, it's not in any other of the other movies. Even when they try to do these new ones, like Critters, A New Binge, which that's like a show, whatever you want to call it. And they didn't care. They didn't care one single bit. But yeah, just no one really missed it, because they think of Critters. They think of... And I could say, I prefer this design. Because I think that being smaller, and you could puppeteer it, up close, hand puppeteer, it just makes it easier to use and deal with than the giant one. Polar ice burger, that's a bit of a setup for later. So it doesn't come completely out of left field. Pretty much the critters detailing today. Get everyone cut off. I like Don Opper's reaction, like, no, 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 you don't want to do this. Please don't. Not this. Not this. He's like, you don't want to look like, you don't want to look like him, no. See, again, that line would not have fit if you kept it in with body fit, because if the body fit, why is she changing to Eddie Deason? If the body fit. It definitely seems like you get a little bit more usage out of these guns, too. At least against the critters. See, in the first one, it works for that film, but it was more like just this separate movie subplot of the how I put it, the bounty hunters doing their movie, which is a fish out of water. They're in the bowling alley, the little church. Sort of their idea of fish out of water comedic bits, and then the family being attacked. But here, you don't really get that. It doesn't feel like two movies as one. It still feels like more one cohesive whole of build up the characters, they attack the town, and now it's the town having to deal with this stuff. Sure, why don't you just take a walk and find out? You want to find out where they are. Oh, I think this is where don't maybe turn to Freddy Krueger. Which that would have been funny if you got Robert Englund to do a cameo in this and as Freddy Krueger as a critter buster. People will lose their shit if that happened. If they would lose their shit and be like, oh my god, like we got Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger in this for like 5 minutes. People would lose their shit. Of course, it'd be New Line Cinema. That's why they were able to reference Freddy Krueger. And then Critters would be referenced in the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That was the film Raphael saw and came out of the theater and said, "Who thinks of this stuff?" I thought this was kind of a surprising bit too, where this bounty hunter. I mean, the character was in the first movie, not the actress, of course, but the character, and it keeps up the danger of the critters. I mean, it's light-hearted fare, but they're still dangerous creatures. So you have to keep their threat up, and so far you have not seen like a lot of body count. Like you saw the sheriff go through the window. You have the one guy who had the dog, and then here, I mean, these are your saviors, supposedly, and you gotta take one out, the other's just completely defeated. And it shows how smart the critters are. They made a plan, they made a trap. They are a threat. They are a cohesive threat, and they're not complete cartoons. I think you get a little bit of like body parts here, graphic stuff. There you go. Arm just completely eaten. And now he's not going to be at all. Well, no, he does later, but for a good chunk, he's going to be sort of out of it. Of course, if you didn't notice, the bounty hunters one's called Ugg and the other's called Lee, so Ugg Lee, ugly, Ugg and Lee, ugly. Pretty much lost the will to fight right now. And lost his friend, so he has no will power right now. They also did that because to not just rely on the bounty hunters, they were going to have to do it themselves. So our main characters to be more heroes, in particular Scott Grimes. Bit weird that they, they only have this guy by himself. There's like not 2 or 3 people, and then like, why is he going out there? So you being a jerk is what gets you this. There you go. Now this little girl is right at the door. Like, why did she just not go back in? Like, how the hell did she ride all down that platform? Like, she'd have to go back and forth, go down, like, what, this and this and this, and then ride off. It's like, how the hell did that happen? And why did she do that? That was really stupid of her. And, this Scott Grimes Terrier is doing the best he can. There you go. Nicely done. That's pretty badass. There's Barry Corbin. Bean, bam, boom. It's pretty badass. 2 6-shooters take care of a bunch of mess. And that's for me, even with that Harv character, they do a bit more here. There's a guy that was kicked out, that was voted out, said, you know what, I'm going to come back despite that. This is the right thing to do, and that alone is more development than Emma Walsh had in the first movie. And more memorable moment where he kicked those critters' asses. They're all going to Mardi Gras. Looks like they're trying to go to a damn town meeting. It's a lot of motherfuckers. Yeah, there's a shitload. An absolute shitload. Now, you see them all die in this one. I don't know how there's a Critters 3. Like, it doesn't really explain how that came to be. They don't really go into that. It's just for some reason there's more. Now, see, you would never have someone say, seems mighty queer to me. You would never have that line nowadays. Who the hell is this Farmer Vincent motherfucker? No-face alien. Gonna tell me how to run my town. That's why I love Barry Corbin. He said exactly what I was thinking. What is this bullshit? Then it's time to fight back. Well, come on, Farmer Vincent, since you want to be such a tough guy. Even she's like, really? So I've just listened to Barry Corbin. Come on, you bunch of pussies. You got nothing to lose but your lives. See, the idea of Barry Corbin just a lot of his dialogue, like, what is this bullshit? Or, come on, you pussies. I love Barry Corbin's character in this. What is this bullshit? I think he's like taking the words out of my mouth. Like, this movie goes by fast. We're an hour and 3 minutes in, so we have, with the end credits, 22 minutes left. Again, that's with the end credits, which is usually about 4 minutes, give or take. Just pretty much they get together, they blow it up, is the big critter ball, there's a car chase. Everyone gets their weapons. Do you imagine the shit luck? Like, one person next to you gets a shotgun, you get a rake. It's like, how about let's switch? You take the rake, I'll take the shotgun. It's like, what? Now, if I understand these scenes with the hamburger factory, they used actual meat, which later on was a big mistake because, of course, not realizing, they thought, well, we're just going to shoot one day and it's done. But they didn't realize, well, you'd have to come back days later, and this meat is going to be really rancid. I mean, absolutely rancid. And then you don't have the critters eating at it, and you gotta be in the environment, and as a puppeteer, it's gonna go down your hand, go down your arm, it's gonna stink up the suit, so you have to clean the puppet. Maybe it's not suit, I say suit, but you gotta clean up the puppet. Yeah, clean this shit up. And there they go. It was cool like how they were able to make all these things roll too. It was like something about they put wires on each side of it, and there's like a track, and as it goes, like they could drag it, either a car behind it, or a car in front of it, I should say, or literally drag it, and they roll and they keep going wherever you want them to go. Don't put the dynamite in the pickle. Or at least in the pickle juice. With that many critters, it is crazy they don't just try to eat these people. I guess, I know they have weapons, but well, I guess that's really smart of them. They want to wait, bide their time. Sort of a lynching party here. Would you even want to go out, or would you just want to stay in the church and let them do their business? It does make you wonder why they going out. Like, why don't they stay in the church and be safe, and you don't have to worry about downwind, any of that jazz. But yeah, these films I saw quite a bit on VHS, especially the first two, but even 3 and 4. I don't hate. I keep saying I don't hate the Critters, but that's not true, because Critters a New Binge I despise. Despise it. I mean, that has a critter going down on a woman, eating her pussy out, and apparently a critter fucked her, and thus our lead character is half critter. It's just fucking awful fucking thing. I keep wanting to say movie, but it's like a web show. Whatever the hell. Fuck you doing, Charlie? Of course, you find out where he's going in a bit. Of course, you find out later why this one's so bigger than the rest. Which I thought this was an interesting idea. And it makes sense. I mean, you have a alien that can transform. If it could transform into a human, why can it not transform into a critter? So I thought that was a cool idea too. That was a, I mean, it seems obvious now, but it's like, oh yeah, that's right, he can transform. Why wouldn't he be able to? If he could transform, again, he's an alien. Why not be able to transform into this? I thought that was a really clever idea. I thought the way the eyes looked, they looked even better in this. You tell there was a bit more finesse on making those effects. But why don't try to fix the? Why don't change your transformation there? Like, go a bit further away or wait until it explodes or something, and then get the fuck out. Like, why are you waiting till there? There you go. There you go. Blow the shit out of it. I don't know why I didn't kill them. Just well, because then the movie would be over. That's why, and we wouldn't get this cool bit here with the critter ball. I just I cooked them into one big pile, and then easier to take care of. And you think it's over, but it's not quite. No, she ain't gonna blow it again. This is something else entirely. There you go. You know, this was always an interesting idea to have all these damn critters like this. There you go. Yeah, we need to get the fuck out of here now. Like, big time. Get the fuck out of here now. And this is pretty graphic too. Like, look at that bloody skeleton. Got the spine showing. Still PG-13. I do wish they were able to show the critter ball killed a few more people. But, it is what it is. I always thought this was a cool idea, though, the whole critter ball stuff. And they actually made it. I mean, at one point they made it with a bit more distinction of faces, but then it was kind of hard to roll the thing, and plus the faces would get crushed, so you had to make a bit more of a less detailed version. And that's a mistake that on that wide shot when it was going into town, you see a guy's legs behind it pushing the thing. See, that's digital that I could deal with, where you go back, you just erase certain stuff like that. Little mistakes. I think if you're erasing mistakes, it's okay to use digital work onto it. Damn. Well, at least they tried. Scott Grimes helped save the girl. Scott Grimes came up with the idea for this. They delayed the inevitable for a little while, but we don't find out what Charlie was doing. Maybe let's not stand here. Let's get the fuck out. There you go. Charlie's big moment to shine. Boom. And you could tell that it's pretty much the ship going to the thing, and there's a cut, and then the explosion. I guess in his honor, Ugg decided to look like Charlie. Not realizing how weird it would be for people to look at him, but I guess he kind of did that as a nod to him, like in his honor. So I guess in his way, it's a nice gesture. I like that they don't set up a sequel at the end, so you could just, if you want to ignore 3 and 4, you could and just say this is over, and it was just 1 and 2. And that's why I prefer just a flat out end. There's always a way to make a sequel. Again, they made the sequel to 3, and they don't really explain how there's more. Just that's just how it is. But yeah, just end your movie, and if you want to do a sequel, there's always a way to do it next time. Because a lot of times when you say, oh, by the way, it's not over, it's kind of like you don't give the audience the satisfaction of seeing a true resolution, end of the story. So I think a lot of times filmmakers don't realize you're kind of cheating the audience. You know, they want to see a beginning, middle, of end, and you go, well, it's not really the end. And it's like, what? They kind of get this frustration on all of it. You're not even going to come up and hug Charlie? Oh my god, I can't believe you're alive, or and all that stuff? Yeah, it shows you Don Opper's a good actor, because they definitely have two distinct personalities, like Ugg and Charlie. Like the more serious Don Opper and the more like goofy Don Opper. So I guess they're back up along the way. Another ship to come on by. This bus driver must be like, what the fuck is going on here? What the fuck is that? And let's see, like Critters 3, I could watch. You know, I have issues with it. Same with Critters 4. Critters 4, that one, I mean, you barely have critters in it. I don't know, there's something about it that makes me not hate it, to be fair. I like Brad Dourif, Angela Bassett. I don't mind the cast. I don't mind the idea that it takes place in space. I actually like it. But I don't know, man. Just Brad Dourif should have been the main lead. Also, it's been weird that they made Terrence Mann's character a bad guy, a villain, and like really no explanation for that, like, at all. You definitely tell it was a limitation of budget with how little of the critters you saw. Because I think what happened with Critters 3 and 4, that was done back to back, so they kind of shared the same budget, and Critters 3 took more than they thought. So instead of 50-50, it was kind of like 70-30 of the budget. Critters 3 got more than 70%, while Critters 4 kind of got just the bare leftovers. And yeah, I thought the musical score works well, and Charlie perhaps will be the sheriff in this town, and you see Charlie in the background like, hey, don't speed too much. I don't really get the I thought for what in the features they may seem like this town was built. Like this town was built. So the fact they say we appreciate the people of Grover's Bend, I don't know what the deal with that is. So now you get the scene, whatever you want to call it, the song for the Hungry Heifer food joint. But yeah, that's Critters 2. Critters 2, the main course. Still a fun film, entertaining, goes by a good pace. I like the cast. I think the Kyoto creature effects are stellar, very solid. And overall, just a entertaining movie that was a VHS childhood favorite, and I don't really have that many issues with it. Like I said, I like Critters 1. I would still say Critters 2, this would probably be my favorite because I think the pacing is a bit faster. And again, like I said, Critters 1, my only issue is that while it's fun, it does feel like two different movies. It's the fish out of water with the bounty hunters, and then it's the family being attacked. I'm like, okay, this stuff's kind of interesting, but can we get back to the family being attacked? Here it's kind of set in one story and consistent throughout with that. But with that said, thanks for watching. Thanks once again, Jonathan Lindsey, and we will see you guys later. Bye-bye.